right, Chris. This is definitely the first episode of the DOMAR Podcast.
Yeah.
After years of not sending any videos on YouTube.
Well, not years. We did do that one that was about the CCTV, about us getting our stuff stolen. So.
Oh yeah, you did that one.
Yeah.
So that's fine. Okay. So a few months, let's say. So yeah, we should do this regular podcast.
Yeah.
So today's the first day. I mean, you just got off the phone about a wireless issue.
Yes.
I think that's a good idea to start with that one. See, we can talk about it, at least give our customers some idea or inspiration where to start.
Yeah, if they have any type of issues with their systems.
Yeah.
So I guess to kind of set you guys the scene, I just done a session with a customer who was looking to
By the way,
get
the
his
camera is there if you want to look at the camera. Oh.
Okay.
Camera there.
I'll set a wireless session. We would do a setting of wireless cameras. He needed to add them to his recorder. Getting 3 of them added was perfectly fine. You just log on to the camera's IP address and then, you can try searching for it. But if it doesn't search, you then just manually input the IP address for the camera.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that for 3 of them. Worked perfectly fine. But he had 2 more cameras that just would not appear in the search. And the IP address was different from the other 3. The other 3 were 192.168.1.110 and iterations of that to make it clear. But these 2 wireless cameras were both 10.0.0.20 and iterations of that number, which made it very problematic because that implies they're on 2 separate networks. But we weren't actually doing anything in that setup that would give indication that it would be doing that. There was no difference between the 2 cameras and how they've been set up between the 192.168.1 and the 10.0.1.
Yeah. So give some background. If you have one router giving out IP address, distributing the IP address, the beginning 2 sections of the IP address should, or 3 sections of the IP address should be identical.
Yes.
Let's say 192.168.2 or 3, 4, 5, whatever. But then the other set was 10.0.0 something.
10.0.
So feels like the other is another device on the network trying to distribute the IP on top of this original one. So yeah.
So what I ended up doing was I tried 2 things to try and resolve this issue. The first one I did was I went into the router's settings and I realized it had a 2.4 gigahertz and a 5 gigahertz kind of band. And to be clear about our devices, they usually work a lot better with 2.4 gigahertz. Yeah. Some devices can work with 5.
So that's another background kind of knowledge our customer probably should know. So wireless CCTV camera, they need long range because they are far away from your router normally, because you install outside the house, different corners, and your router normally on one corner of your house. So most of the camera will be far away. So 2.4 gigahertz is very good handling the long distance transmission, while 5 gigahertz is great and faster, but they're usually quite short in distance. So for CCTV, I think you had a couple of customers saying when they're trying to solely connect the camera to 2.4, solve some problem, right?
Yes, I had another customer on Monday who was talking about, he said his camera was giving him a nightmare essentially, saying he was trying to connect over and over and over again to the router, but it just wouldn't, it would accept the IP address, but it wouldn't go online. And he did the same kind of thing which I did, which resolved his issue personally, which was he went into the router, he found the 2.4 gigahertz band of his router, and he named it a new point. So instead of trying to connect to the same, instead of both bands having the same point, and you automatically connect to the 5 gigahertz, you connect to the 2.4 gigahertz, and it resolved this issue. So I did that exact same thing for this customer, and it worked in the sense that I can now add it to the recorder, but his connection speed was a lot weaker. And so we didn't want to keep it like that, so we reverted it back to the original kind of IP and the original network name. But then we realized he had a Netgear switch on the router, and he realized that the 3 cameras that were connecting to the recorder with no issue were all on one individual router at the back of the house. But the 2 that weren't, that had the 10.0.0, are on their own router at the front of the house. So
Yeah.
We've determined that the issue is that switch is allocating different IP addresses to the rest of the network, which means it's probably in NAT mode. Is that the right way?
Yeah, it's a NAT mode. So basically, if you have original switch and you're trying to use different switch as an enhancer, let's say, if you put additional switch on the bridge mode, so they themselves won't do anything. It's just like invisible on the network. So it almost just enhance the signal. But if you put them in the NAT mode, means that additional device will start to distribute the IP address by themselves instead of the IP address originate from the router. So yeah.
So we've told the customer that he's going to now talk with the person who did the installation, and he's going to figure out how to set it into bridge mode. Yep. And once we do that, we should be able to find the IP address in the correct kind of way it should be allocated and add it to the recorder. So we're probably going to be doing that tomorrow afternoon.
Okay, so if we have some new ideas after that, or if it works or not works, we'll get another podcast. But this is just a short podcast and testing out how we're gonna help our customer resolving issues through this kind of video, because if you just type something online or have a user manual, it's not very sort of inspirational. So yeah, I still have some idea, obviously, so for now we also have some idea of the background. I'm thinking to sort of formulate a theme, so we'll see what we're gonna do tomorrow.
Okay, see you guys then.